We are utilizing aircraft, as you probably have seen, and trying to check the fire, but the winds are causing problems. It's switching into timber from the grass in the fields.
Breaking news tonight, the Andrus fire is burning in the West Plains between Airway Heights and Cheney and has now grown to 300 acres. Multiple evacuations have been put in place for hundreds of nearby residents. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Joshua Robinson. Mark has tonight off. But that fire, which started earlier this morning, has continued to grow quickly throughout the day. Multiple agencies are on scene right now to help with firefighting efforts. And now fire crews from all over the state have been called in to help. That is where we are joined right now by Casey Decker, who joins us live. Casey, tell us the latest information on the fire.
Well, Joshua, we just got what was maybe the first good news we've really had all day, and that's that some of the people who were evacuated earlier in the afternoon, well, they may be able to return home tonight. Officials just posted a map online breaking down what was a large level 3 evacuation zone into a few smaller zones, meaning folks that are now in level 2 or 1 zones, they can go back home. Firefighters, of course, want anyone who can safely return home to be allowed to do so, but they also want to make sure that those same people don't just have to evacuate again tomorrow, so they're being cautious right now with how many evacuation orders they're downgrading. As we said earlier, more than 200 homes were evacuated at that full level 3 today. Fortunately, though, no reports yet from firefighters of any structural damage. The fire is being fueled by dry vegetation and timber. The terrain is very difficult, and there have been high winds over the course of the day, making this a challenging task for the many crews on scene. Thanks to that large team effort, including at least 9 different aircraft, they've started to create a containment line. And with winds dying down tonight and temperatures lowering, I'm told that's why they're able to start refining that evacuation zone and letting people go back home. But to be clear, this fire remains 0% contained. They haven't really completed that containment line, and even after they do so, it'll probably be a few more days before they're confident that high winds won't spark up again and then send the fire over that line. Now, the other good news, of course, right now we have no reports of injuries. Add that to the lack of any real structural damage so far, and given the size and intensity of this fire, really we're pretty fortunate here tonight. Reporting on the West Plains, Casey Decker, KREM 2 News.
Thank you, Casey. In just a few hours tonight, a new evacuation shelter was put together by the Red Cross for anybody looking for shelter amidst the Andrus fire. Now, the shelter is right now open at Medical Lake High School at 200 East Barker Street. Representatives with Red Cross say that they don't know how many people will show up, but they do recommend if you or someone you know needs shelter, bring whatever you're comfortable bringing, especially any medications you might need.
We are bringing in food for the people. We just got in water, and we will see how many people are going to be staying overnight, and then we will set up cots and sleeping areas. We plan on taking care of any type of situation. They can bring their pets if they need to, and we will just deal with it as it comes.
And speaking of animals, if you've got any larger animals or livestock and you need to find a place to give them shelter, the Spokane County Fairgrounds has space for you to bring your animals if you're looking for a safe spot to keep them. Meanwhile, the evacuations did get more and more intense and widespread throughout the day today. What started off as level 2 evacuations quickly grew to level 3. That meant if you were in the area, you needed to leave immediately. We spoke to one woman today who is right in the middle of the evacuation zone, and she says a fire previously threatened her property 40 years ago. Ultimately, back then, though, it stopped short of creating any real damage.
We were lucky then. Hopefully, we will be lucky now. Hopefully, everybody will be lucky now. We're somewhat prepared. I did not think one thing about clothes or a toothbrush or anything, but our granddaughter did, so she's helped. She's doing pictures right now of things that we would forget.
People were seen walking their horses and getting chickens ready to go as well. And we've spoken with plenty of people today who say the most important things they're focusing on right now is other people and their animals, maybe an important keepsake or a family photo, but everything else they have told us is just stuff. There's also a much larger fire burning right now near Wenatchee. The Batterman fire burning in Douglas County has grown now to 7,900 acres. As of this morning, it was about 10% contained. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office says the wind and high temperatures are causing rapid growth. The fire, which is threatening 80 structures, started yesterday afternoon. The cause of the fire is still under investigation, but so far, no injuries have been reported and no structures have been lost. The Red Cross has an emergency shelter on standby at Eastmont High School for any people who need it. And if you'd like more information about the Andrus fire and where you can go if you are evacuated, or if you'd like more information about the Batterman fire burning in Wenatchee, text the word FIRE to 509-448-2000. We'll get you the latest information directly to your phone. And with all of this information, right now is the perfect time to check right in with meteorologist Michelle Boss, because Michelle, we know that wind was one of the causes of the buildups of these fires. Is it going to eventually ease up, maybe see a little bit better conditions for firefighters?
Well, it depends on what area you're talking about. In the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area, we didn't have necessarily strong winds today, but we did have a persistent breeze in that 10 to 15 mile per hour range with some gusts up to 20 miles per hour. Things have certainly calmed down in the Spokane, Coeur d'Alene area with a sustained wind speeds only from about 3 to 5 miles per hour. However, that can't be said out in Wenatchee. They do have some stronger winds out there right now. Sustained winds at 18 miles per hour and could see gusts up to 30 during the overnight hours, but things should start to settle down tomorrow. We will be keeping an eye on the potential for much stronger winds on the way for Tuesday night into Wednesday, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But very warm temperatures still out there across the inland Northwest, just under 80 degrees now at 11 o'clock at night here in Spokane, 79 degrees, 71 in Coeur d'Alene, a little bit cooler up north in Sandpoint, in the upper 60s in Libby, but still very mild from Wenatchee to Moses Lake and Grand Coulee with temperatures in the lower 80s, has fallen below 80 degrees in Lewiston. So we do have a fire weather watch that goes into effect Tuesday night into Wednesday. We have the potential for isolated thunderstorms that would include lightning and gustier winds associated with those storms, and of course a continuation of hot and dry conditions. This fire weather watch may be upgraded to a red flag warning as we get a little bit closer. But in the meantime, things are relatively quiet. No precipitation to speak of across the region. Just a few showers north of the border. Those winds for most of eastern Washington and North Idaho are relatively light overnight. Clear skies for the overnight hours, bottoming out in the low to mid 60s. We'll have sunny skies tomorrow and looking at another hot and dry day with temperatures in the upper 90s tomorrow. Chance of storms Tuesday night into Wednesday with a high of 93, and then one brief day below 90 degrees on Thursday, looking at highs in the upper 80s.
New tonight, Canada has lifted their quarantine rules for fully vaccinated citizens. That means fully vaccinated citizens and permanent residents can cross the U.S.-Canada border without having to quarantine. However, it does not apply to fully vaccinated Americans. The border remains closed to all non-essential travel until at least July 21st. A suspect has been arrested for hitting vehicles with concrete on I-5 near Federal Way over on the west side. Washington State Patrol troopers received a call around midnight last night saying a pedestrian was throwing rocks at vehicles. Troopers eventually found the suspect lying in tall grass. A total of 4 people reported damage to their vehicles. One driver received minor injuries after being hit by the concrete and was then cut by shattered glass. WSP is continuing to investigate the incident. Starting today, if you're on federal unemployment in Washington, get ready to start showing you're actively searching for work again. The requirement that was dropped during the pandemic is now back in effect. So, to stay eligible for unemployment, be sure to document your job search in case you do get audited.
Through the team's ongoing search efforts today, we have recovered another victim. The number of confirmed deaths is now 28.
Today, another victim was found in the rubble of what was once the condo building in Surfside, Florida. Earlier today, officials said 3 more victims had been found in a new area of rubble since they demolished the rest of the building. So far, of the 28 recovered victims, 26 have been identified, and another 117 people are still unaccounted for. Taking a look now at other top stories of the day. A Pullman man is recovering from life-threatening firework-related injuries at Sacred Heart tonight. Last night, a fireworks tube used to launch an aerial display that he was bracing on his thigh exploded and damaged his leg. It ended up severing an artery, but with the help of neighbors, he was stabilized until paramedics arrived. He underwent treatment at Pullman Regional Hospital and was then airlifted to Spokane. Another man was transported to a hospital last night with life-threatening injuries from a stabbing. Spokane police say an argument broke out about lighting off fireworks last night. SPD Major Crimes Unit detectives are investigating the situation. All involved parties are currently accounted for and being interviewed by police. 2 people were found dead inside of a burnt-out camper in Orofino, Idaho. Multiple agencies responded to a call of a camper on fire early Saturday morning. When officers arrived, the camper was fully engulfed in flames. After crews were able to put out the fire, the bodies of the 2 individuals were found inside. Police are not yet releasing the names of the 2 people. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Spokane City pools opened up today for free swim. Restrictions on pool capacity have been lifted and restrictions will no longer be required. A free splash pass is still required to access city pools, but if you had a splash pass in the 2019 season, you do not need to register for a new one. The city pools have been open for a week now, but for lap swimming, swim lessons, and swim teams only until this point. But today marks the first time they are open to everyone since 2019. The COVID-19 Delta variant is becoming more and more prevalent throughout the country. Next, our Verify team looks into what it means for fully vaccinated people. Plus, Michelle is back with us, continuing to track the winds as firefighters continue their work on containing the Andrus fire. The full forecast coming up just a little bit later as we're back in 90 seconds.